All right, let's dive in. Every single business today is swimming in data, right? But how do you actually use it? Today, we are going to break down two of the most important systems for doing just that, the data warehouse and the data lake. We'll figure out how they turn all that noise into real strategic insight.
So, here's our roadmap. First, we'll talk about the massive problem that is the data deluge. Then, we'll explore the super organized library known as the data warehouse. Check out its smaller cousins, the data marts, and then jump into the wild world of the raw data lake. And finally, we'll see why picking the right one is a total game changer for making smart decisions.
Okay, first things first. Let's really set the stage and talk about the huge challenge that kind of forced all this technology into existence in the first place.
I mean, it's not even a secret anymore, is it? Businesses today are just generating insane amounts of data. We're talking sales reports, social media comments, website clicks, sensor data, you name it. It all just pours in, creating this massive, chaotic pool of information that can feel absolutely overwhelming. And that right there is the million-dollar question. With all this raw information flying at you, how do you find the important stuff? How do you transform this messy, noisy flood of data into a clear, actionable strategy that actually helps you win? Well, let's find out. To solve that problem, we're going to start with the classic, the OG solution for making sense of corporate data, the data warehouse. The best way to think about it? Imagine a perfectly organized library. So a data warehouse is way more than just storage. It's like a master librarian. It goes out, collects information from all these different departments, cleans it all up so it's consistent, catalogs it by subject, and then puts it on the shelf, ready to go. So when a business user needs a report, the information is reliable, clean, and easy to find. And what makes it so trustworthy are these four features. Integrated means data from finance and sales actually match up. Subject-oriented is like organizing books by genre. All the customer data is in one place. And time-variant and non-volatile, well, that just means it creates a permanent historical record. You can look back in time, and the data is always there, which is absolutely crucial for spotting trends. Okay, so the data warehouse is this giant central library for the whole company. But what if you're on the marketing team and you don't need to see financial data from 10 years ago? You just need your stuff. Well, that's where data marts come into play.
A data mart is basically a little specialty shop. Instead of wandering through the massive central library, the sales team can just pop into their own curated store that only has the data they care about. It makes everything way faster and so much simpler for their day-to-day work.
And you can build these little shops in two main ways. A dependent mart, that's the top-down approach. It gets all its info from the central warehouse. This is great because it keeps all the data consistent. But an independent mart is built from the bottom up, pulling data directly from the source. It's faster to set up for one team, sure, but you run the risk of having different departments looking at different versions of the truth. Yikes.
Now, this whole library model is amazing, but it was designed for structured, predictable data. In the age of big data, with all its messy, unstructured variety, well, it's not always enough. And this brings us to a much more modern, flexible approach.
So if a warehouse is a library of perfectly published books, a data lake is like a real, natural lake. Everything just flows into it. Spreadsheets, server logs, emails, images, you name it, it all gets dumped in its original, raw, unfiltered format. The data just sits there, waiting for someone to come along and explore it. And the whole point of a data lake is speed and flexibility. Its architecture is built for constant flow, for processing data in real time as it comes in. The philosophy is completely flipped from a warehouse. It's all about ingest everything now in its raw form, and we'll figure out how to structure it later when we need to.
All right, it's time for the main event. Let's put these two powerhouses side by side to really get to the heart of what makes them different. This is the warehouse versus the lake. Let's do it.
This table just nails it. The key difference is this. A warehouse uses schema on write. You have to clean, structure, and define your data before you're allowed to store it. The lake uses schema on read. You just pour everything in, and the user, usually a data scientist, applies the structure when they pull the data out for analysis. This makes the lake incredibly agile and flexible for exploration, while the warehouse is rock solid for reliable, standardized reporting.
So we've talked tech, we've used analogies like libraries and lakes, but let's bring this all home. Why is any of this so important? Why is choosing the right data architecture so unbelievably critical for a business?
You know, this quote really hits the nail on the head. These systems aren't just fancy databases for storage. No, they are the actual engines that power modern business intelligence. Having that solid foundation to collect and analyze information is what separates the companies that are just guessing from the companies that know.
And this is the real bottom line. A well-designed data system gives you a serious competitive advantage. You can spot trends before your rivals do. You can find and fix inefficiencies in your own company. You give your leaders a complete 360-degree view of the business. You empower everyone to stop making decisions based on gut feelings and start using actual evidence.
So we'll end on this thought. The choice between a warehouse and a lake isn't just a technical one. It's a strategic business decision about how your company wants to learn, innovate, and compete. Are you building a pristine library for reliable answers to questions you already have? Or are you creating a vast lake for future explorations and discoveries you can't even predict yet? And these days, the lines are blurring with new lakehouse architectures trying to give you the best of both. The answer you choose will absolutely shape your company's future.